First of all, I would like to say good evening, teacher, and good evening, everyone. My name is Sar. Currently, I am a foundation student at University of Cambodia. Today, I also take this week off for my final exam for analyzing Cambodian street story, such as Tum Tiếu, Golapalung, and Thakachata story, which are the most important for Cambodian student who study from grade 10, 11, or 12 in order to take their national exam in Cambodia. Let's move to the story about Tum Tiêu story. The story is one of the tragic love stories that happened at Tabong Khmum, and as well as the sad story at the end of the story. Here is the content. The first one is the plot. Second is setting. Three is character. Four is conflicts. Five is more of the story, and the last one is about cultural points. Let's move to the plot. As we know that in plot there are five main parts. The first one is the introduction. Second one is rising action. The third one is climax. The fourth is falling action, and the last one is resolution. If we talk about the if we talk about the introduction in the story of the Tung Tiêu, as the as Tung Tiêu as Tung saying that the Tiêu house, both of them fall in love with each other at the first sight. It means that when Tung is a monk, was with the woman who is Mother Teals. It invited invited Tom to sing at um, her house in order to be a goat and happiness and their families, and as well as both of them meet the both and talks about their intention. Both of them it's referred to Tom and Paige after their scenes at Theo's house, and then Tom cannot control his feeling in dance. After that, he come back to the temple where he lived with Paige, and both of them live and stay with Abbott, who manage both Tom and Paige. And after that, Tom and Paige tell the truth, not tell the truth. Tom tell the Abbott that he want to become as a normal person. After both of them, Tom and Paige are become a normal person, they travel to Tiêu house, and as well as Tom and Tiêu strongly passionate each other while Tom enter house Tiêu. Before Tom arrives the house Tiêu, and Paige and Tom, he got some word from the Abbot. For Paige, it's okay if he want to become a normal person, but for Tom, doesn't okay. He doesn't okay to become as a normal person because if he want to become as a normal person, he would die. He would die in the future, but Tung doesn't follow what the Abbot talks of what Abbot has forbid him. Okay, here is the introduction. If we talk about the rising action, is that Bill was known by the king who controlled the country because of her beautiful and was famous to other people, and the population who live in Cambodian from one mouth to another mouth, and that this message has heard to is heard to the king. In then he take a ship of the royal guards who took Teal to meet the king, and then Nguyen and his father were angry Mother Teals because Mother Teal doesn't follow what she shared with Ao Chun or with Moon. And also, Mother Teal asks us very upset that I can't complete what she was taught with the Nguyen family due to she is the selfish, she is the bad. We can say that she is uh, old lady who always want a wealthy persons to marry with her daughter, and the king know immediately the relationship between Tom and Till because Tom eh, has sing the his has sang the song, and that song shows the relationship between Tom and Till, and immediately the king know both of them become a wife and a husband, and that's why in that time the king gives the opportunity to them to marry with each other as the royal palace. Yeah. Okay, if we talk about the climax, it is the importance in the story after Mother Teal back to the village without her daughter, and her daughter is become Tom's wife, and she really disappointed of that, and Pan feel miserable was the governor insulted her for uh, deciding wounds and his son, and as well as Theo got a message as the police that she must return immediately to her mother's house because her mother is sick. That is not the truth. Due to she does mother Theo doesn't want her daughter to marry with Tom, and she had Tom the most, and that's why she used the message to the deal, and that's the deal come back to the house, and when the deal is back home she discover with the horrors that her mother was arranges her immediate weddings with Nguyen, and the news of the first wedding reached the police and rescue a message to Tom, and that time and that time Tom was very upset when he knows that information about Deal. And if we talk about the following actions, Tom brings the message alone and runs to the wedding, but instead of presenting the ethics, he drink and become drunk. He cannot control his feeling. Um, he can't stand for what he do, what he doesn't, and that time due to the wedding ceremony, he drink a lot and become a drunk, especially Nguyen and his father, who ordered to bring Tom out of the village because they don't want them to join his son's ceremony, his son's weddings, and pays the right to and try to prevent the explosion shouting that he has a royal ethics, but the father of Nguyen does not hear him and expel him too, and at the end due to the persistence of Tum to go back to the readings, the governor plunges swords in his chest while telling him to stay away from the life of his son. So if we talk about the resolution in the story, it's talk about for a few minutes later, after the widow woman, or we call it Hans, Moon and his father and villager arrives to the place. And in the last scene, all villagers are approached in front to the king house in stock and following the advice of his royal consort most villagers are condemned to die and the rest to be sold into slavery while a wider area is crippled with heavy tax. That is the punishment from the kings that everyone who doesn't follows the valuable ethic from the king due to the Tum and Tiêu and also as well as snow. And yeah, that's all for the resolution and that's all for the plot. So let's move to about the setting. If we talk about the setting, there are two main points that we are going to talk about. The first one is about the place and the second one is time. About the places, this story is take place in Bong Khmum, which is the one province, which is the province that Mother Tiêu or as well as family Mơn no Mơn Nguồn family and also the villagers and the royal palace is the place that the king and the tomb page and as well as other villager as well as the worker who work in the royal palace, especially Tom and Page. He worked as the moon age at the royal palace, and he worked as a singer at the royal palace. And also the widow's house, we can say that's the Tiêu house. Yeah, and the place that the Tom sing the song at the first, both Tom and Tiêu meet each other, and as well as a widow families slave also live the widow house as well. And the Bapnum is the place where the Tom and Perch lives together with upwards in order to produce valuable things that we call it a dog, and as well as the place where Tom and Page is a monk. And that's all for the places. If we talk about the times, this is the tragic love story was happened a long time ago, around 17th or 18th century. That is the times of the story. And the previous time, the king was power and led and lead the country as well as the citizen was work as the farmer and made some craft for selling in order to support their family. And Tom and Page were sell a prayer table called talk, and it means that if they have some products they have to import to other place in order to solve it, and that times the monk can do the business, especially Tom and Page as in the story, and the girl are become adolescents have to follow the Cambodian culture such as Tiêu is in the set. If we talk about Khmer, if we describe in Khmer is the Chom Lok, and this type of tradition is the most important for girl in the previous in order to study more and more, especially to study how to character, how to attitude to other people after they finish their mission as the um, um, shed in the shed, what we call it, Jomlok. Yeah, that's all for the time, and we talk about the character. In the character, there are three main point. The first one is the main character. Second is the main character, and the third one is supporting. The main character there are Tom Tiêu, Widow Woman, or June. Those of them, if we talk about the Tom and Tiêu, both of them is the protagonist character, and Tom is a handsome man and educational person who study at a Bapnum and a temple, as well as he is talented man because he can sing interestingly, and his awesome talents has spread to the king and become the moon eye, and he is a good brother who take care page um, even they are not a sibling, and he is also the only person who has a true love with his spouse. Even there are many obstacles, he has challenges. Moreover, he is a king person. He works in the royal palace. If we talk about the character of Tiếu, she is the woman, a beautiful woman and smart, and she is goddaughter who always follow her mother decision, and moreover, she is the honest lady. Only her spouse. She is a good wife who take care of her husband, even there are many men who want to marry with her, but she doesn't want to marry with them. Um, and she know that if she know that Tom is not a wealthy man, but Tom has a valuable love. Tom has a true love, so that's why she decided to live with Tom until the end. And if we talk about the woman and the widow woman and Arjun, both of them is the antagonist. Yep. Tom and Tail is the protagonist, and widow's woman and Arjun is antagonist. Widow woman is a strong woman, even she has no husband in the family, but she can live and support, especially she have a lot of slave to live with her, and she love her daughter too much, and train her beautiful daughter become a good woman, and she inspire her daughter um, in the shade. However, she is the selfish person who decide everything by herself without asking her daughter whether her daughter is follow her idea or not. Especially the decision of making marriage of her daughter. Yeah. If we talk about the many character, they are Peach and No. Peach is a handsome guy and talented as well. He is the gold uh, younger brother of Tom, and moreover, he is the one who always take care of all the people around Tom, around him. Furthermore, he is easy going and self-confident. No is an honest slave with the widow woman and Tiêu, and she understand everything about Tiêu. She have a lot. She have a lot of Tiêu family, and as well as she even she is blamed and she try to find another way in order to have to, especially the way of marriage that is forced by their mother. And that's all for the main character. We talk about the we're gonna talk about the supporting character. Supporting character, there are a king Remichir and slave. A king Remichir is a reasonable person um, who always follow um, the people who under him, especially he married Tiêu and Tom together, and he joins in the two states at the end of the story. If we talk about the slave, they are the honest who always serve their boss completely. Yeah, that's all for character. Let's talk about the conflict in the story. There are two types. The first is the external, and the second is the internal conflicts. External conflict is about the deal with her mother. Her mother forces her daughter to marry with the wealthy family, Orchun family, and she tried to lie her daughter in many ways in order to marry with the governor's son. Especially she sent a message to her daughter, even she know that Tom and Theo was married by the king Remyechir, but she tried to separate them and try to take her daughter from Tom. And if we talk about the conflict between Mother Jill with Tom, Mother Jill is the person who, but we can say at the beginning of the story, she like Tom, but when she know that Tom is not and not uh, wealthy a wealthy man, so that's why she tried to take her daughter from Tom and the widow woman with the society. We can say that because of the tradition, no man and the widow woman forces her beautiful daughter to follow her decision without asking the idea from her daughter. Because of the old idea, her daughter was died, and she shared and punished until die at the end of the story. If we talk about the internal conflict about Tom and himself, because he cannot control, he cannot prevent his feeling to deal, and he try to become as a normal person, even he know that the bad information from the aborts that he would die in the future. He would die if he become the normal person, and if he doesn't follow what the absurds mention him. Yeah. That's all for the conflict. Let's move to another point about the moral. In the moral of the story, according to the story, we can assume that before makes some decision, we have to think critically, especially the marriage, especially the choose the spouse for our daughter, our sons, and as we as the power person should respect the under person. It means that everything has the legal right, has the right of themselves, even they are the poor family, even they are the poor person, but we should follow them. We cannot use our power to judge every person in the society. If it, if especially if we talk about the Orchun or Moon, yeah, or Theo, we cannot do like that action, and as a parent has to follow the children first before decide to do something. If we apply it to the nowadays, everything will change, and the children has to choose their way. They have um, they have to choose their future, whether it is good or bad. So we just only use the idea as we are the parents, and the nature have to control our loving. You know, we can assume that the nature, they um, when they meet the person who is beautiful, who is a good person, they cannot manage um, their feeling. Anyway, uh, hope anyway we should try to find another way in order to prevent that feeling. Yeah, and we have to honest each other if we decide to choose a good spouse to live with. In order to be a good spouse, we cannot live only one day, but we live until the end of our life. Let's move to the cultural point. According to the story, every decision is depend on the parent, especially Mother Teos. She decide everything by herself without asking her daughter. And moreover, a girl who is become a adolescent has to follow the culture, and they can in the shade, or we call it the jomlo. And after while practicing shooting practicing things early, the girl has to study a lot, such as the way to become a good wife, the ways of talking, walking, and their attitude in the society that is important in the previous time, or we can say that is the cultural point in the story. Yeah, that's all for the Tung Tiêu story. Let's analyze the second story about the Golap Island. The Golap Island is one of the most novel story that was written by Mr. Nok Time. We can say that Golap Island is really popular and the previous time, and also got the award from got the award as well. And here is the content about the plot, setting, character, conflict, moral of the story, and the cultural points. Yeah. In plots, there are five main parts that I'm gonna talk about. The first one is the introduction. In the introduction of the story, in the plot, and in the old house, Mr. Sherm, who is the father of Judd, is sick due to the serious disease. He lives with his handsome um, son, and yeah, he has now a wife, and after his father start. Dr. Saad recommended him to work as a mines worker in the island with Mr. Ratana Sambat. It is that is the life of Chao Chut. After his father died, he moved from Battambang to Palan. And we will talk about the rising action is when Judge has arrived at the Ratanasambat house, and he worked as a mine worker. And one night, Judge sang the song in his worker cottage, and as well as his voice was known by Neri, and Neri loved Judge's voice so much, but she doesn't know that Judge before. She doesn't know Judge before, and Judge helps Mr. Sons, the cover of the Mr. Lurot Sambat to repair the car. At that time, Lurot Sambat has a mission to go to the province, and then due to some conditions that Mr. Son cannot repair the car, and then that time just know how to repair the car, and that's all for the rising action. Yeah, if we talk about the climax, one day, just try. He's both a master and Mr. Ballas to the market, and all of them stay in the forest all night because the car was broken, and they can't repair the car immediately. So that's why they decide to live to stay the whole night um, in the forest, and that time Jet and Neri charge each other and becomes the closer because you know during racing in the forest there are a lot of sheep who want to who want everything from the Aluratana Sambat because they know that in the society there are insecurity for the people, but you know anyways they decide to stay the whole night at the forest, and due to that the conviction Theo and no sorry Jet and Nevis becomes closer with each other. Here is the following action and resolution. The following action Connery stop discriminating him. I mean that she doesn't discriminate. She doesn't discriminate Chet anymore, and she start loving him. And one day, Balaz bring Mr. Punch to buy the gyms or buy the wealthy things. And Mr. Lurut is absolutely furious and warns them to be the never there again and lets them to go outside from his house because you know both of them, Balas and Mr. Pants, is a bad person who want everything, who is a chief, if we can say that he is a chief. And the list, if we talk about the resolution, after a lot of advantage, just commitment and honesty of judge, Mr. Loratanasan must allow him to marry with his daughter, and both of them live happily together until the end of life. Yeah, that's all for the plot. Let's move to the setting. In the story take place. This story take place in Battambang province, which is the place or the origin of Judge. And moreover, after Judge's father dies, they move to work in the Bailin province, which is the wealthy province, or we can say they are the diamonds and everything is the wealthy stuff over there, and Ratana Sambat house, and where Judge works as the mine worker, and then he becomes the vice, the husband of Connery, and furthermore in the forest, which is the a car is broken, and Judge Connery Lorata Sambat, Mr. Ballas was stay the whole night over there. Yeah, and if we talk about the time in the setting, Galapagos is one of the famous novel story of the New York time. It is portrays the structure of the people of the Cambodian during French colony, as well as in the previous time, Bailan province is one of the wealthy province, which has a lot of natural resources. Yeah. We talk about the character, the main character in the story is Judd and Connery. Judd is one of the person um, who always take care of his father until his father died, and that he prepare everything. After his father dies, he organized his father well before he decided to leave from Battambang. And moreover, he is a smart person who always flexible, every strength action even in the bad condition. Furthermore, he is an easy going, as well as he can adapt every situation. Even he guards the bad word from Connery, especially he is the honest with his boss, and has a true love with culinary. Importantly, he has a leadership school. He managed to lead other mine worker in Luang Ratana Sambat house, and yeah, that's all the character of Jet. If we talk about the culinary, she is a beautiful woman who is honest, no, who is a nasty woman with Jet. And however, she very clever. Interestingly, she is a gold daughter and smartness, and she is the woman who known her valuable woman for she never talk to every man easily. I mean, she know clearly how to character, how to attitude to other people, especially for the woman, you know. And if we talk about the mini character in the story, Luang Ratana Sambat and Mr. Pet, I choose only two. And Luang Ratana Sambat is a wealthy man. He is always gives the opportunity to other people, especially for the poor person, and he is a kind of people. And interestingly, he is a justice person and love his daughter so much. Yeah, he is a good father for deciding choose um, the spouse for his daughter, Connery. And if we talk about the character of Mr. Judd, he is educational person. He is uh, he is the one who help other without some income or benefits. He help Judd a lot, especially have find the job for Judd as well. Yeah. For the supporting character, we talk about Mr. Germ. He is a godfather of church, and he support his son to become a good person, and his son can study a lot as well and got the certificate as well. And a mines worker, they are a good person the in the farm. The you know they live with the honest and true love with their boss, and also as well as the chief who is want to get a lot of wealthy resources from the Rakasabat house. So that's all for the character. Let's move to the conflict. In the conflict, there is external conflicts. Connery with Judd. So uh, both of them never, at the beginning of the story, both of them can say the go over to each other, especially Connery. She always blame Judd. She always look down at Judd. But at the end of the story, she fall in love with Judd. Because there are a lot of advantages of Judd that she cannot describe everything about Judd. And Judd is a person who can help um, her families from the disaster, from the damage from the shift. And moreover about the population with the society. In the society, many population was afraid of the shift who always makes the bad condition in the society. And in the um, in that society, we can say that insecurity for the population. Yeah, that's all for the conflict. Let's move to the moral of the story. We have to take care of our parent to the last life. Our parent is the goal. Parent is important, the most important a person who we cannot describe. And we have to help each other when someone is in the bad situation. As a citizen, we have to be honest with other people around and help each other in the every actions. as a teenager has to be strong, even reaching a lot of disappointed in life, especially just he has a lot of problem, he has a lot of challenges in his life. Anyway, he faced it, and he um, become a successful person in the his life at the end of the story. If we one more thing, if we become a boss or a wealthy person, we have to give the opportunity to other people. That is important, especially Mr. Luratana Sambat is a good person in the society. If there are a lot of that person in our society, the economic everything in the society becomes wealthy, becomes strong, the strong society, and we can assume that the person with the educational and the valuable person as well. And one more thing is we have to be honest with our spouse. Our couple, we have to live with each other until the end, and we can. Have the children with each other. So that's why if we have any problem with each other, we should forgive it. If a husband make a bad action, we should forgive them, forgive him, and guide each other. We should not do that. We should not do those things. Yeah. So that's all for the moral of the story. If we talk about the cultural point, according to the story, in order to choose a spouse, they do not focus on the appearance or the color. Everything is on the inside the person, or the the educational and everything about the character and attitude, as well as the respect and the honest, the respectation and the honest person. However, we have to choose someone who can raise the family more happy. Chad is a good person. He has a leadership skills, and he led the man worker and as well as his family more happily. In the other hand, they choose the person with the honest and the educational person. When they choose that person and the ends of life and the future, they gonna be a happy family in the future as well. Thank you, and that's all for the lab island. Let's move to the third story, Cambodian story. That is the last story. It's talk about the guy Chacha. Yeah, here is the content. There are six content over there as the both Tung Tiao and also the story of the Lap Island. Here is the plot, the introduction in the story. In 1956, there was an incident in Phnom Penh where the boats used buhom to try and hit Hong Pang Hong Lee, cause promising to give buhom 10,000 real. That is the introduction of the plot. And about the rising action, due to the lack of the livelihoods, he needed money for his children to study and for his mother to celebrate, because his mother become old, and she want to have a goal thing in her life before she dies, and as well as go home agreed to do the bad thing in order to get 10,000 reals, and home to try a car to hit anybody's car, and then both of them have a conflict. I mean that Pukham and both have a conflict with each other, because the boss doesn't follow his words, what he talk about, what he have talks with Pukham. And if we talk about the climax, later to home house after he tried to hit the Hong Bang Hong Lee's car, and there are many people who died at that time. And after that, several police officers surrounded Puham and find Puham to the station, and police asked who's the chief was, and then Puham confessed that he was the driver of the cars that has the car of the boss Hong Lee. Yeah. Here is the following action. After their discussion, after the police arrives Puham's house, the boss then says that Ham was lying. Then the permit Tong Tri Sok and Bien help to testify to the police that Uncle Holmes told the truth. And the resolution of the plot is that the boss rocket the police hands and whispers to the police, and the police catch Puham to take to the police station by leaving the Puham's wife to feel pity for her husband. In the end of the story, Mien Sok, Tri, Kung, and Pandit were informed by their boss to stop working because their life the police and have him to convince the police. Yeah, that's all for the plot. Let's move to the setting. This story take place at Bo's house, the place where Puham works, and Puham makes conflicts with the boss, as well as the Puham house where the police um, ask and finds the proof to arrest Puham, and police station where the police take Puham to over there. And if we talk about the times, one day the boss ordered Puham to hit the car of Hong Pan Hong Lee with money 10,000 real if he done it, and he will get 10,000 real. Later, at the Puham house, several police officers surrounded Puham, but his wife told him that her husband had not been home for 4 or 5 days, and police charged Puham to take to the police station at that time. Yeah, that is the time. And if we talk about the character of the story, the main character is Puham. We can say that Puham is he is love his family and wives and children. He is responsibility. He is truthful. He is not give in to treat. He is that he is living that to the work saying he left the plan to family, home challenge many obstacle in the family anyway, because he want his family has a good thing to do, and he want his children to be a good person, to have a study a lot in his family. Anyway, he is a bad guy who hates, who make a crime for many people due to the 10,000 real. And if we talk about the mini character is boss. Boss is um, a selfish person. He is disrespects to the truth. He use money to buy the poor people. He is insulting justice, and he also take a breath. Supporting character is worker. Here is worker is referred to So, Mien, Kung Tri, and Panut. Um, they are they help each other in time of emergency, especially have harm. Yeah. So that's all for the character. We talk about the conflict. they are external conflict and internal conflict. Puhom and his both of them make a conflict due to the both doesn't follow what he talked with Hom, and that he guide Hom to his holy cause, and there are many people will die over there, and at the end he uh, Puhom doesn't got 10,000 real from um, his boss. And about the internal is Puhom and himself, due to the 10,000 real, he doesn't think it is the bad action in his family or not, and he killed every person in the cars. If you talk about the moral of the story, we always love to stay, be responsible, awake, and correct your mistake, and must know how to respect the truth and do not commit iniquity. Be united person. About the cultural point, the story of the chief boss reflects the cruelty of the ruler under the influence of money into states overcomes. To states the through this story reflects the misery of the poor, the unlucky, and the wealth oppressed by the rich. So as we are studier, must cultivates conscience, love justice, and has upwards cruelty. Yeah, that's all for the cultural points of the story. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, teacher and everyone. I hope what my explanation is clear. If you have any inquiries, I be free to take my responsible, and thank you very much, teacher, for your hard working for us, for teaching us. And finally, I would like to thank you again and wish you all the best for this infection of the COVID-19. Thank you very much. Goodbye, teacher.